we are every year, for Darren Jordan to come and join us and award the prize that carries his father's name. So, welcome, Darren.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all very much for coming along tonight. It's a very great honour for me to be here to present this award in my father's name. When considering what this exhibition meant to my father, I was reminded of Dad telling me once about a teaching experience he had, for once not with students but with other teachers. He'd been asked to present an art module at an in-service and set out to conduct an activity getting teachers to draw, paint and create. These were not art teachers, and many of them had not attempted this type of creativity since they were children. Dad remarked on the fact that many of them were concerned that their work would not be good enough and were afraid to start in case what they created turned out to be bad. To him, this was in many ways the whole point of the exercise. Most children love art, he said. They love creating and aren't concerned with concepts of good or bad. The aesthetics of grown-ups haven't yet intruded, and children are free to revel in the joy of creativity. But somewhere along the line, many are told by someone or somehow develop the notion that their work is not good enough, and so they stop creating. What Dad told these teachers was that they needed to stop worrying about whether their work was good or bad and instead enjoy the experience of creating. For him, the creative impulse was something that everyone should be free to express. I think we all have that desire in us. Some might have a shelf set aside in a cupboard for a planned needlecraft project, keep a box of wool for weaving, or even a shed full of tools ready to build. Creative projects manifest through our lives in many different ways. My father's own creativity was always bursting out of whatever confines he tried to place it in. Over the years, he set up a number of studio spaces to work in. And whether that was where he was studying at the College of Fine Arts during his postgraduate studies, or a special area marked out in the garage at home. Periodically, however, whatever this space was would morph and change as he came to use it less and less. But the space designated as the studio invariably turned out to be the only place that Dad seemed unable to work. After him spending hours setting up easel paints, papers, spotlights and the like, it was quite common to find the studio space empty, and Dad happily painting in the back garden, or sketching or relaxing in his armchair in the lounge room. And slowly the studio space would fill up with bits and pieces and transform into a storage area instead, until the next time Dad felt the need to demarcate an area. But the reality was that creativity for Dad was a social thing as well. He loved the shared experience of creativity and found inspiration by working with others around. I know that on those occasions that he set up his canvas in the classroom, he inspired the students working around him and found inspiration himself in the shared creative community. He summed up this idea best in a short story that he wrote. It tells of a land where all creatures were unique and individual, where all lived in peace and harmony, respecting and delighting in the individual dreams of others around them. However, one day a child was born with an especially shining beauty and came to be seen as the ideal. Soon enough, none wanted their own individual voices anymore. They just wanted to be like the perfect one in their midst. Slowly, in their desire to be like the ideal of perfection, all the creatures lost their individual colours, their individual voices, and the world became a grey place of drab conformity. What Dad was saying in this story, just as he was saying to the teachers who worried that their work was not good enough, was that in art, all voices are individual and unique. One should never be afraid that their creation is not as good as someone else's, for the issue of good versus bad doesn't enter into it. When the creativity of the individual is shared, then a community of art is built, where the many differences become part of the larger symphony. This religious art prize for my father represented the ever-growing, developing and changing community of spirituality and creativity. Every year we see unique visions coming together to create this superb exhibition, which is why it gives me such pleasure to present the Brian Jordan Prize for 2010. This year the prize goes to Luen Samonte, Year 12, from the Good Samaritan Catholic College, Hinchinbrook.
Thank you, Darren. I'm going to show off a little bit here, and I'll show off not only on my behalf, but Natalie McCaffrey. A few years ago, and he's waiting tonight to find out if he's the winner of the Silver Prize. So he's one of the finalists. So I think that's the spirit of your father still working. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come